Hey guys, it's P. Gamboa here, and today I will be installing the GM molded color match black front and rear mudguards for my 2016 Chevy Silverado. Part numbers here are 2290-2391 for the fronts and 2338-7354 for the rears. These are the color matched black painted mudguards for my Silverado, and we'll get these installed today. So let's take a closer look at the tools requirement list for the front guards. For the front guards, you're going to need some drill bits here. So I've got a 9/32 drill bit, a 23/64 drill bit, 1/8 inch drill bit. You'll need a couple of Torx drivers, T15 and T30. You'll need a drill, utility knife, and a riv nut tool if you have access to one. Now I picked this riv nut tool up on Amazon for about 30 bucks. It comes with some riv nuts that you can use if you do not have the hardware package. The hardware package comes with the GM riv nuts along with the bolts that are needed for the installation. For the rears, the installation requirements are similar, but not as much. You will need a T15 Torx driver, a drill, 1/8 inch drill bit, 13/64, utility knife, and I believe the utility knife is to cut away on some of the tape if you do need that for alignment purposes. For the rears, you've got these clip nut certs, so you don't have to use a riv nut for the back. You do need it for the front, and a couple of alcohol prep pads. So let's get these on the truck. Alright guys, we'll get started with the front passenger side mudguard. This guard will go over the existing molding that's on the truck now, so the instructions on this do call out to remove the two existing bolts here and one there. If you turn your wheel inward, it'll make access to that easier. For the second bolt, if you've got a 1/4 inch ratchet, that'll allow you easier access to get to that. With my tool here, my access is kind of limited. So 1/4 inch socket to remove the second bolt. You then want to take your mudguard and install your mudguard over the top. So the next steps are to drill out your upper and lower holes into the fender well. I actually turn the wheels in the opposite direction to give me more access. Instructions say to turn them inward. If you turn them outward, I think you'll have more access. So you're going to take your drill, and the drill bit for this is going to be 9/32. You're going to hold this in place and drill your two holes here and here into the fender well. So now we're going to remove the guard so we can get those holes cleaned up. So you can see the two holes that I've got started here with the 9/32 drill bit. I'm going to get that drilled all the way through. We will now take our 23/64 inch drill bit and we will enlarge those holes. Be careful as you're drilling this. You are close to the edge of the metal here, so you don't want to create any cut through or anything on the outside of that fender. So just take your time there. So I figured out what the utility knife was for in the instructions. There's a seal that kind of runs down the side of the fender well here, and when you drill out the hole with the guard in as a template, when you go to put the riv nut, you don't get it flushed down to the metal. So the utility knife is going to be used to just carve out some of that seal, I guess, along the edge, so you have a nice flat spot to install the riv nut. It's now time to install the riv nuts provided by GM in the package. I'm going to be using my Amazon purchased riv nut tool installer. You basically just screw on the riv nut onto the end like so, and you pop it in place. So I'm having a heck of a time compressing this steel riv nut into that cavity there. So I'm going to attempt to install the one that came with my riv nut tool. I believe these are aluminum, so we'll give this a shot here. Definitely much easier on the aluminum than the steel. We'll get that second one in here in a little bit. Okay, I've got the second one. We'll get that one installed now. There you go. Next steps will be to reinstall your mud guards, put your screws, your existing screws for the bottom, and then your new provided screws for the tops. I've gone ahead and I've wiped the area here with the alcohol prep pad. There is a strip of adhesive on the mud guard, so we want to make sure that gets a nice clean stick on there. Go ahead and get the mud guard staged, and then fasten our bolts. Now the two new bolts you're going to be using are larger bolts, and you will need the T30 Torx driver for that. Now before we go to tighten these bolts down, you want to remove the strip for the adhesive. tighten your bolts down. So the last step here is to drill the 1/8 inch hole at the bottom so you can fasten the bottom piece here. When you're drilling this, just make sure you push that up so you have a nice seal flush there, and then go ahead and drill your hole and attach the self-tapping screw. I've got that last screw at the bottom, and that should complete the installation of the mudguards. Well, there you have it, folks, the installation of the GM molded, painted, color matched mudguards for my 2016 Chevy Silverado. We'll get the other side done, guys. I do appreciate you watching. If you like this video, please be sure to subscribe and watch the other videos I've got on the upgrades that I've done to my 2016 Chevy Silverado. Alright guys, for the rear mudguard installation, the instructions do call out for removing the tire. I'm guessing it's because of the lack of access to get bolts in and out of this area here. I'm going to try to do it without taking the tire, with a ratchet with a 1/4 inch socket with my Torx bit, and I'm going to see if I can get that done. Space is kind of tight, so I can see why the instructions would call out for removing the tire. The second bolt on the inside looks like it's even tighter, so see if I can get this in there to take that out. Okay, so I did find a 1/4 inch ratchet here that I'm going to use in conjunction with my Torx bit. See if I can get this guy off. Okay, so I was able to get the 2 bolts back in. I've got the mudguard installed. The next steps now are to drill your pilot holes at the top here using a 13/64 inch drill bit. It does say to push this in and just make sure it's flush before you drill those holes. Now for the second hole, you can see that I can't get my drill in there, so I can see why there is a need to remove the tire. So it looks like we will need to remove the tire. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to install this guy here, and then I'll figure out some time to get that tire off so we can drill that second hole down here in the bottom. So alright guys, so unfortunately I did have to remove the tire to get access to drill that second hole there. So we'll continue on with the installation. You want to go ahead and push that mud flap in so that it's flush against the fender, and then drill your 2 pilot holes. And again, that drill bit is a 13/64 inch drill bit. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the mudguard now and continue that drilling all the way through. We're going to apply some super lube into the hole. This is a rust preventer. And then we're going to insert our clip nutserts here. So you can see the nutserts don't sit flat with the fender well on both of these. So if you come across that situation, the instructions do say to remove the nutsert and using a file or awl to get that hole cleaned up a little bit so that nutsert sits flat. Now that I've got the two clip nutserts, we'll reinstall the mudguards back into place. Okay, for the last bolt, there's a bolt down here at the bottom, and you're going to be using a 1/8 inch drill bit to get that hole drilled. Instructions do say to push your molding in and get that flush to the fender as much as possible, and then drill that hole. Okay, for the last nutsert, the instructions weren't clear as far as placement. I thought it was going to go on the metal part of the fender, but it actually goes in between the metal part and the plastic part of this molding, so it just sits on top, and then you fasten the bolt to that. So now that we have all the bolts fastened, before I go to tighten it down, I noticed a little bit of the adhesive is sticking up here at the edge, so I'm going to remove the mudguard. I'm going to trim that piece off so it's not visible, and then I'll reattach the whole mudguard and get everything tightened down. Well, that concludes the installation of the rear mudguards. I appreciate you guys watching. Hope you enjoyed the video and this helps you in the installation of your mudguards. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Thanks. Alright guys, I've got all 4 mudguards installed on my 2016 Chevy Silverado. These are the black molded color matched front and rear mudguards. So I just wanted to do a quick walk around so you can see what they look like. I actually had the non-color matched black mudguards, so I went with color match instead. So I like the look. Hope my video helped out. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.